When you click on a law firm's website, did you ever notice you can't buy anything? Right? You can't transact any business. But you go to the grocery store, you can put food in your cart and pay for it, bag it yourself. If you're sick, you can self-diagnose and you can chat with a doctor or a lawyer or a nurse online. You can do your own taxes, and you can send them off to an accountant if you'd like. The world caters to you with all kinds of self-service and partial service solutions around the world consistently in every industry except one, the legal industry, right? That's a problem. And let me illustrate. One out of every two of you, 50%, will have a significant civil legal issue in your life in the next 2 years. You'll be injured, you'll have a contract dispute, housing problem. If you're over the age of 65, if you're a veteran, if you're handicapped, or you've been a survival of sexual assault, your odds are double that you're going to have that issue. And when you have that problem, you all call the same person, right? Do you know where you call? You phone a friend. You phone a friend or a family member. It's a strategy we learned in a game show, right? Regis Philbin. It's ridiculous. In a study of 46 countries around the world, we only call a lawyer in this potentially catastrophic event 1 out of 3 times. Now, I suspect all of you know why that is, right? It's because lawyers are expensive. You know, the average American makes $23 an hour. The average lawyer charges $260 an hour. 40% of Americans, many of you know this stat, 40% of Americans cannot afford one $400 unexpected expense, which makes any sort of a civil trial not possible. But the real question is, well, why is this the case? And to do that, it's probably best illustrated with an analogy. I want you to imagine this service station is a law firm. Just imagine more mahogany and marble. Now, when I pull my car up to that law firm service station, and that car is my civil legal issue, lawyers hop out, and they behave like lawyers do. They take my car for a week, and then they change my tires, and they flush my radiator fluid, and they change my oil, and they change my windshield wipers. And I come back a week later, they hand me a bill that was a little bit more expensive than I expected, and I drive away thinking, gosh, I just wanted a tank of gas. It's a full service model all the time, right? It's people heavy, people only, and it's full service all the time. And so as a result, you know, that model doesn't scale well to the everyday transaction, and it frustrates us. 8 out of 10 businesses would change law firms on one recommendation from a friend. Many people on the consumer side just can't go to a lawyer, so they represent themselves. These are stats from the Boston Housing Court last year. 90% of the 18,000 defendants in housing court represented themselves. This is the standard of legal services today. And we all know this implicitly. So we want to blame somebody for this, right? The lawyer, right? This guy. We tell him that he loves his billable hour model, that he loves the pyramid scheme of his law firm, and that he hates technology. That's what we say about lawyers. And that must be the reason why we are where we are. But what I'm going to tell you is it's actually not this guy's fault. It's not the lawyer's fault. See, lawyers haven't had technology that does what they do. Lawyers think and read and write for a living. They think and read and write. And until you give them something that thinks and reads and writes, you can't expect them to do a lot more with less. Marketing, sales, engineering, manufacturing, these functions have had technologies for years that help them do a lot more with less. Lawyers pretty much, for the last 10 or 20 years, are doing pretty much what they did 10 or 20 years ago. They have software, but it doesn't really get into the heart of their workflow. And the most ubiquitous technology they use on a daily basis is the yellow notepad. They can get through their day without any technology many, many days. So what do you do about that? Well, the good news is, as we all know, artificial intelligence has arrived. And today, you know, there are algorithms on this planet. This is an article from January that, as you've seen, you know, algorithms can outread humans now. Well, lawyers read and think and write for a living, so this is interesting. And so you're starting to see a proliferation of technologies that can do things that lawyers can do many, many times over in seconds. And that's interesting. But the innovative idea here, the innovative point of view, and what's going to happen is the following. Software to lawyers and in legal tech historically has gone through the lawyers. It never touches the clients. Legal tech has been built for the lawyers. And unfortunately, that technology hasn't translated into self-service solutions, partial service solutions, cheaper solutions, faster solutions, because a lot of that technology doesn't get into the heart of what they do. Now with data science, what we're seeing in the last 1, 2, and 3 years is technology proliferating with the support of law firms and lawyers that puts the software in between themselves and their clients for the first time, thanks to machine learning, natural language processing, and the like. Let me give you a couple of examples. You can go online right now with a brand new company, and you can get divorced in under a month for $1,000 with the help of a lawyer-supported artificial intelligence program. That exists today. My 4 teenagers, they're going to be signing their first apartment lease in the coming years. And they're going to go to a law firm. That same website I told you couldn't transact business on, they're going to go to that law firm. They're going to upload that lease that they're about to sign, usually at 1 in the morning after pizza. And in 30 seconds to a minute or two, the algorithms will crawl all over that document and give them in-context advice written by the lawyers for that jurisdiction. Tell them what to look out for, what not to do, and what to sign. I know this product exists because my company built it. These are just a couple of examples of what's possible now. And the fundamental change here is the introduction of self-service legal services, not by outside technology firms, but by the lawyers and the law firms themselves. And you might be sitting there saying, well, that's not novel. We've seen self-service around the world in every other industry ever. That's true. You just haven't seen it in the legal profession because they're still operating under an operating model that was invented in the 1800s because they have not had technology that thinks and reads and writes, so they haven't really had a way to change what they're doing. You know, when all of this happens, the lawyers are going to get excited about this, and it's starting to happen. And the reason is they're going to be able to make money while they sleep. You know, we can complain about lawyers. We can tell them to lower their rates. We can tell them to work harder. But the truth is they work pretty hard as it is. What they need is an economic incentive and a technology stepping stone to create new product offerings that meet their clients' demands where they need them. And the clients in return will respond. All that market that has been left behind by overpriced legal services will suddenly come available at lower price points and faster service offerings. Look, there's 7.5 billion people in the planet, and the justice gap in the world is real and growing. But asking lawyers to work harder for less money isn't going to solve that problem. What will solve that problem will be self-service technologies brought to you by the legal profession because we need their expertise, we need their contacts, we need their trust. Plus artificial intelligence that's easy to use out of the box in seconds to a minute or two, available directly to the clients, supported under the law firm's brand. And that's what we think is going to happen. And that's one vision of the future. Thank you so much.